right, UFC 328 this weekend, and Tom Zaffino joins us now here. And first and foremost, Tom, I appreciate you doing this. Give me your overall view of the card that we're going to see here tonight. How good is this card?
It's a great card. It's one of the best cards we've seen this year. The Paramount era has gotten off to a bit of a rocky start. People complaining about the cards, people complaining, I don't know. They're complaining about a lot of things, the ads, all kinds of stuff. But this card in general, we got a lot of finishers. We got a lot of really good matchups. We got two great championship fights. Got a good fight in the heavyweight division, which has been down recently. So, yeah, I mean, the card in general is a really good card, fun card, and it's going to be good for the viewers.
How come it's gotten off to a rocky start with Paramount? I mean, people complained about the ESPN, relationship that UFC had. How is it getting off to a rocky start here with Paramount?
Honestly, I think it's the world we live in, the Twitter world. Anytime there's something new, there's something new to complain about. I mean, it costs a lot less money to watch UFC now than it did the last, 8 years or whatever they were on ESPN. ESPN had ads in between fights, but people act like this is a new thing. So to me, I just feel like, and also you got the Netflix card where people are making a big deal about the Rousey thing, and that's going to be better than the White House card. And there's just so much to talk about and bicker about. People just go back and forth on Twitter. And I think it's kind of just all been overblown. Because for me, I mean, I've enjoyed it. There's been a lot of good cards. There's been some dull cards, but there's always been dull cards. They put on 42 cards a year. So, I mean, it happens. But overall, to me, it's been pretty much the same. So I think the complaints are a little overblown.
Tom, why do you think the heavyweight division over the last couple of years has not been one of the more dominant divisions? I mean, you go back even into boxing. Boxing really hasn't had a dominant heavyweight that was able to move the needle since Tyson, and the guy that moved it was Mayweather. How come they have not been able to really enhance that division? Because everyone wants to see the big guys fight. Why is that division struggling?
I think the problem is there's just not a lot of great heavyweights. A lot of the fighters that are in the UFC right now really wouldn't have sniffed the UFC heavyweight division 10 ago. There's a lot of really sloppy, sluggish fights. You had Tom Aspinall. He was the hot young star that was coming up, and, he had the eye poke controversy, so now he's out of the picture. And there's just not a lot of contenders, and it's really hard to go on a streak in the UFC heavyweight division because you can run into a power puncher that knocks you out and ends your streak, or you can run into a grappler that's just going to hold you down, and now all of a sudden you're looked at as a boring fighter who can't fight grapplers. There's so many different things, but really there's just not a lot of elite heavyweights right now. Francis Ngannou left a few years ago. It would have been interesting to see him versus Tom Aspinall, but they had the big blowout with Dana White and the whole contract controversy and all that stuff. And Francis went on and made, $30 million or whatever he made in boxing. And we just haven't had that consistent guy at the top, and the lower end of the division it looks like a lot of bar fights. Sometimes it's fun, but sometimes it's just two big guys just kind of slugging and laying on each other for 2 rounds for 3 rounds against the cage. So, it's a bit of a tough time, but, we got Waldo Cortez Acosta, who's coming up. He's been knocking guys out. We got Volkov, who's a really good heavyweight, who's been at the top of the division for a long time. We got the Ciryl Gane Pereira fight coming up. So there is some heavyweight division. I think it's picking up a little bit, but we've just had a bit of a rough stretch over the past year and a half where there's just been a lot of kind of lower level heavyweight fights because of, and also the John Jones thing. John Jones had the belt. He didn't fight for a long time. So when you're not seeing title fights, it kind of puts a damper on the whole division. So it's kind of tough.
Tom, do you agree? And you tell me if I'm wrong here on this. One of the things that I brought up all the time is that when you don't see the big guys, it's about the money too. Like when you're an elite athlete, you're going to go in the NFL. you're just going to go there
Right.
because the money's there. Is that maybe one of the reasons also too that you don't see the big dudes being involved in the heavyweights because the money is just not where it needs to be? If I'm an elite athlete in high school and I'm one of the wrestlers in college and I play college football and I wrestle, say at Iowa or Oklahoma State, my objective is going to be able to go to the National Football League because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Is that kind of one of the issues too, why you don't see a lot of great talent in the heavyweight division?
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. The other part of it is pro wrestling. I mean, if you look at the WWE roster or the AEW roster, you've got a lot of guys that either played in the NFL or were elite wrestlers in college and high school. They can go make money, doing choreographed stuff. It's still tough work, but it's a lot easier and there's a lot more money for those big athletic guys to go over there and not get punched in the face. I mean, if I had the option, if I could go make $2 million wrestling in the WWE, or if I could just go fight a guy like, Derek Lewis, who could knock my head off for $100,000, I'm going to go to the WWE or, somewhere else that's going to pay me. And I can save my brain cells.
Absolutely. I'm not getting choked out by a guy like Khabib. That's not happening. What do you think the best fight is tonight here at 328? What do you think the best one is for you?
I would say on paper, the best fight's probably the co-main, Tatsuro Taira versus Joshua Van. They are two elite flyweight fighters. They're both very good strikers. Taira's an extremely good grappler. He's definitely the best of the two. But Joshua Van is a bit of a prodigy. This kid started fighting, 5-6 years ago. He started training, and he's just picked it up. He picked up the grappling. He picked up the striking. And he's, skyrocketed into the spot where now he's the champion. The kid's got it all. And the matchup's going to be if Taira can get him down and hold him down and get him in bad spots, is Van going to be able to deal with that? But overall, I mean, first of all, flyweights in general, these guys are the smallest guys in the UFC, but they have the best skills. They're the fastest. They're the most well-rounded. They have the best cardio. So that fight, to me, I think it could be 5 rounds of just absolute action, and it's a really close one. And the champion Van is the underdog in this spot, which we don't see too often. So really, really intriguing fight for on this card. I think that's probably the best fight in terms of intrigue and competitiveness. We've got some other fights that. We've got some heavy hitters who can land some big knockouts. And the main event obviously is if Sean Strickland can make the main event an ugly fight, that's going to be an absolute war. And also if Strickland can make fight, we may see a big upset here with Strickland because Chimaev's cardio has come into question at times. And even in the last fight where he dominated and he was on top for 4.5 rounds, the 5th round, they were on their feet for a bit at the end, and it looked like Dricus du Plessis had a shot to get him out of there. He didn't have enough time to get it done, but I think Sean Strickland's going to make it much more interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see what the cardio looks like for Chimaev here.
All right, so, man, we're going to continue more with Tom here, get his thoughts on UFC Freedom 250 as well, but our great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason, folks. That is because they win. Family-owned, family-run. There is no company like Morgan & Morgan. Ultima John Morgan started this company over 25 years ago, and it's defending families across this great country. Told you about the family in Pennsylvania that was initially offered $650K. They got nearly $30 million in settlement. Family in Florida was offered $350,000. They were offered nearly $12 million and got it in settlement. Go to forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That's forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sills sent you. No doubt about it. UFC 250 also a big card. Also some drama that was made there at the pre-fight. We'll talk more with Tom Zaffino next, right here on SportsGrid. All right, more with Tom Zaffino here. We're going to talk UFC, but I see a New York Giants jersey there, and I got to ask you out of the gate here, man. I mean, your Gigantes look like they did a pretty good job in the draft. Plus, they end up getting John Harbaugh. You got to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I'm happy with a lot of what they're doing. I mean, being as big a Giants fan as I am, I'm always optimistic. I mean, I was optimistic going into last year when we got Dart. And that obviously didn't pan out the way we thought it would. But Dart, looks like the guy that we had hoped he would be. Obviously, Malik Neighbors going down kind of put a damper on the year. But yeah, I like what we're doing. I mean, their run defense was atrocious. They got rid of Dexter Lawrence, which is looks bad on paper, but they did add a few guys there. I felt like they had a great draft. We added more to the pass rush. Got a wide receiver that will go up and get contested balls. Got a corner that looks like he's got some upside. So, yeah, I mean, I think they rounded the team out. I think it was a good core last year. They were one of the best teams for the first 3 quarters of every game last year, and then they just couldn't finish. So, yeah, I'm excited, man. I think they're doing great. I like Harbaugh. I like his attitude. I feel like the players are buying in. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this year for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. They drafted my boy from Miami too, so I think he's in a good place there in New York right now. So let's get back to UFC 328 here. So, what do you think the sleeper match is tonight?
You know what? The sleeper match could honestly be the heavyweight fight between Volkov and Waldo Cortez Acosta. These are two guys that, you got Volkov, who's been at the top of the division for the last 10 years. I mean, he's had a few setbacks. He's fought all the best guys, but he's always been there. He's like that top 5 gatekeeper. And Cortez Acosta from baseball, and when he came into the UFC, he had a really good jab, really good striking, but wasn't overly explosive. Looked like he was a guy that could get far in the division, but not to the top. But recently he's been knocking guys out. And he's on a 2 or 3 knockout streak right now. And if he can get a win over Volkov, all of a sudden now you've got some new blood in that heavyweight title picture. We don't know what's going to happen with Aspinall. So there's potential that one of these guys fights for the title after the White House card. So that's a really intriguing fight to me. A fun fight if you're just somebody who likes to watch absolute chaos. You got King Green taking on Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens was in the UFC for many years, went to BKFC, did some boxing matches outside the UFC. He's come back. This is his second fight back. 2 guys that will absolutely just stand and trade and, put on a show. Jeremy Stephens, hardest hitters at 145 and 155 that we've seen. Guy's just a savage out there. Bobby Green's a pretty sizable favorite. He probably should get the job done, but that's going to be a fun fight. And well, I say Bobby Green. He used to go by Bobby Green. Now he's King Green. I haven't gotten used to the name yet. But King Green, he's a guy that he can be dominating a fight and it can still be competitive because he wants to play. He wants to showboat. He wants to dance. And, Jeremy Stephens, if he finds an opening, he's going to go for it. So to me, I mean, King Green should win this fight and he should look pretty dominant in this fight because he is much faster and he is bigger. But I can see that one being a fun 3 rounds, and that'll be a good one to watch.
All right, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this. Give me your picks for tonight in 328.
Yeah, I've got a few on the board right now. I'm still looking at the props. There's some takedown props I'm going to be looking at. But the first fight of the night is a good fight. It's a competitive fight between a grappler and a striker. Jose Ochoa is my pick. Carpenter, who's going to want to grapple. But Ochoa, they're both pretty new to the UFC. They both have had kind of, hit and miss fights so far. But Ochoa is a guy that if he does get taken down, he will work back to his feet. His striking is really good. He's the much better striker of the two. I expect that fight to go long because I expect Carpenter to get some takedowns early. So Ochoa, he's sitting at like minus 180 right now. I bet him with the over 1.5 because I can see him getting taken down once or twice in the first round. First round kind of just, goes by quickly. And plus 105. it's basically, to me, that's basically like the money line bet because I expect the fight to go long. Same thing with Pat Sabatini. In his fight, he's the grappler. He's the guy that is the takedowns. And I do worry a little bit if he gets going early, he can find that submission and kill the under 1.5 rounds. But I expect that fight to go long as well. He's fighting William Gomez, who's really good. Solid, just well-rounded guy. So that's another one I expect to go long. I expect Sabatini to win. But again, Sabatini sitting at like plus 165 or minus 165 right now. I'd rather just throw the over 1.5 with him to win and get that to plus money as well. And then Mateusz Rebecki is a dog. The money line, the lines come down a little bit, so the price isn't as good as another grappler, strong grappler, who's very well rounded. And the difference between these two is that Rebecki, to me, is more of a dog. Like when you talk about guys who would be cut out to go fight in BKFC or just go be pure fighters, Rebecki's that guy. He can take a beating. He's fought some really tough guys. He's on a 2-fight losing streak right now, but I don't think his opponent's going to be able to put enough damage on him and control him enough. So I expect him to be in a bit of a war and just be the tougher of the two. And at plus money, I feel like he's worth a shot here. He's really good. And then I got Strickland at plus 13.5 on spread, which I like betting spreads in the UFC. You don't always find good plus money. But my thought going into this fight is Chimaev should win, but he's a massive favorite. He's minus six something right now, so it's kind of tough to bet that. My thought is if Strickland can make it an ugly fight, he's live to win the thing, but I also think he's live to win a round or two, just to cover the plus 13.5. I think if Chimaev finishes him, he finishes him early in the fight. If he doesn't finish him early, it's going to be competitive all the way down. So plus 165 on the spread. I mean, Strickland could lose and win a round or two, and we still cash the ticket. So that's how I'm playing the main event so far. I may throw some takedown bets in for Chimaev, but as of right now, I think it's going to be competitive. So I kind of want to look at it from a live perspective as well.
Well, it should be pretty awesome here. And again, one of the better cards. Tom, I appreciate you doing this. Thank you so much. National Football League cash register continues. We'll explain next, right here on SportsGrid. Okay, so I decided to do something. Robert and I actually did, and we said, "What the hell do people want to hear me talking about Netflix and YouTube right now?" When I've got Mark Gastineau and Joanne Gastineau with us now, and I figured, you know what? We're going to need 3 segments. Actually, I probably need about 3 hours to talk with Mark Gastineau. And we bring both of them on with us now here on Sports Grid. Mark, Joanne, how are you guys?
Go ahead.
We're good, Dan. How are you?
Dan, great.
Hang in
great.
there.
I want to
Awesome.
let my wife be first. You never know.
All right.
Hey,
We're awesome.
all right, Mark. Hey, Mark, do you ever look at it that you're the creator of the sack dance? You're the original guy. And how come nobody ever brings your name up when we talk about it? The things we see in today's NFL. Mark, you were getting so much heat about it when you were doing it early in your career. Don't you think that you're like the guy who created the sack dance?
Dan, after the things I've been through, that is the last. You know what, Dan? Nothing surprises me. Nothing. I mean, I could have torn down goalposts and then threw them out of the stadium, and nobody would have said, and it would have been a great thing. Everybody would have said, "Oh man, look at that! He's strong. Oh, look at how he's throwing that goalpost over the stadium," and they would have said nothing. And anyway, a dance, yeah, I did it in high school. I did it. I got so excited, Dan. Dan, I know that you get excited on your show. You get so excited, Dan.
Hey,
You
well,
are
Mark,
really, what?
I want to show you something, folks, what he gave me. And Joanne sent this to me as well. And I got all the things that they've sent me. This is a coin from the NFL Alumni Association. And it says on the back of it, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He was numerous times All-Pro. Mark, before we get into the 30 for 30 and all of this, how come you're not, in your opinion, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Because you didn't vote for me. I'm kidding.
If I had a vote, I would.
Thank you. Dan, those things like, I stopped thinking about, I fretted and fretted and fretted and thought. And then all of a sudden, after a while, you just like say, hey, it's not going to happen. And I don't, if I was saying right now that I was going to make it in the Hall of Fame, I would say no.
Yeah, but Mark, why?
I don't know why.
Mark,
I don't know why, Dan. I don't know why.
Okay, how about this?
That's my answer, Dan. I'm sorry to cut you off. That's my answer. I don't know why.
Okay, lesser resumes have made it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame than what you have as a resume. Klecko gets in. Joe's a great player. But in my opinion, you're a better football player. There were other guys like Jason Taylor that made it to the Hall of Fame. Those guys don't have anything on you. Do you think it was the relationship that the New York media had, or some had, not all, but some had with you, that has affected you not being in Canton?
They say that the Hall of Fame on the outside, the things that happen on the outside, really affects the things of the Hall of Fame. I was a wild man, but on and off the field, and but I had my stats. I had basically what that you and I've talked about, and you know more about my stats. I got audience. Dan the man knows more about me than I know about myself, and he does. He does. I did not know about Reggie White and a sack every game.
Yeah. That's
what
right.
is that?
Mark, but listen, no, you have almost as many sacks counting your postseason too. You're the only guy, you and Reggie
said
White
I
are
had a
the
sack
only guy.
every game.
Yeah, every game you've ever played in that you started, you have as many sacks. You have a sack for every game that you started. And only one other guy's done that, and that's Reggie White. All right, Mark, we're going to take a time out here for a second. Then we're going to talk about your book, The 30 for 30, and we're going to talk about your relationship, what happened in that 30 for 30 with Brett Favre. We're going to do that next with the legendary Mark Gastineau next here on SportsGrid. It's clearly an honor to get Mark Gastineau on here because I'll tell you, he's clearly one of the more compelling guys that we've ever had on our program. And we enjoy this conversation we're having with him here. And Mark, I'll ask you flat out here, the 30 for 30, chronicling the New York Sack Exchange with ESPN. I'll let you fill it in. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Did you think it gave you a fair representation of what it was like to play with that legendary D-line?
You know, the 30 for 30, my wife's going to get in here and she's going to speak, a lot because she watched the whole filming. Dan, she watched everything. And this wife, I've been with, how long we've been, 18 years. And she has helped me more, Dan, than anybody. I don't drink anymore. I've changed my whole life. So she watched everything that went on. The judge did kick it out, right, Dan? Did you?
Yep.
You read that? Yeah,
I did.
Okay,
Right.
So I got to get this straight.
You had a lawsuit against the
Yeah.
filming
Okay, I'm
of it,
sorry.
and the judge has since dropped the case here. But go ahead, Mark. Please, I wanted to give everyone the idea what it was.
Okay, that's what I'm saying about you know more about me than I know about myself. But anyway, no, I do know about that. Okay, and my wife knows more. But anyway, here it is. They kicked it out, but we're appealing it now. Okay, We are appealing it. We're going to the higher courts, and my wife will talk to you about that. Okay.
Okay, Joanne,
Yes.
why are you continuing to go forward with the conversation of like, okay, you're going forward because you did not believe that the judge was fair? Why are you continuing your lawsuit?
Why don't you get in the?
Do I need to come into the camera?
Yes,
The judge
please.
is inaccurate. The judge is inaccurate. Okay. A Chicago sports show, November of 2023. Brett Favre was there, and everything I'm saying, if there's any way you can contact Brett Favre, he will also agree that it was a setup and it was terrible. It was against them. It was all used for publicity. So we go to a Chicago sports show, sign autographs, meet and greet, the whole thing. Brett Favre is there. Mark and Brett Favre are speaking behind a curtain. It's a private moment between two players. They shook hands. It was, if anything, it was just kind of funny. He hadn't seen Brett Favre in 20 years, so it was like, hey, you got my sack.
Yeah, you got my sack.
That was funny.
I said, you know what? I'm going to hurt you. He said, and I
Right.
said, and he said, you're going to hurt me. And I said, I wasn't going after him. But anyway, I'm telling you that on national TV. So
And they're shaking hands. I have it all. I have everything, as far as photos and all that. Okay, that's November of 2023. A year later, all of a sudden, now we're approached for ESPN, not even, it was NFL Films that approached to do an awesome family inspirational story about the New York Sack Exchange. How, when they played, maybe they didn't get along, but where their lives are now. And I think they just got caught up on publicity and a hit piece. So now, as they're approaching to promote the show for 30 for 30, out of nowhere, I'm getting TikTok videos with the Brett Favre, which is showed all edited out. I think the proper word is context. It's not showed properly.
context.
My stomach dropped, and our family in Arizona and family and friends all over, literally all over the country, are calling us up and saying, is somebody against you? And what are you talking about? And they're showing me this video. That video, this is where the lawsuit comes in, because the video was not approved. It was a private moment. The judge said, if you read it, that Mark signed an agreement. Mark did not sign an agreement. We've got proof. It'll be told. If you hurt our family and you've hurt us, you took my husband and you made a mockery out of him.
On my sack, on every sack I've ever got, that is the truth right there. I did not sign it.
They made a mockery of my husband, which affected us. It's been stress. It's been anxiety. It's affecting our livelihood. It's affecting appearances. My husband did not sign an agreement, and that can be proven. And that is why I'm going, hold on. So when the judge threw it out, if you read it, the judge says Mark signed an agreement, and that's why it got dismissed. That case can be appealed, and what will happen, it'll go to another judge. We'll keep going, because you cannot ruin a family like this when they promised that this would be something he'd be proud of for his legacy. Shame on them.
How about this, Joanne? Do you guys agree with this then? That what your case is, Mark, Joanne, you think that this was something that hurt your potential earnings on
here it is.
Autograph signings and stuff like this, because they portrayed you in a bad way. This is why you guys have a problem with it, because it was something that was not told to you prior to the filming of the 30 for 30.
Correct.
Then you took it out of my mouth. See, I can't even talk.
Correct. And then
took it out of my mouth.
The 30 for 30 part, that I have to see if this, I would go before a jury and explain to them that and the reason I'm speaking was because my husband really wasn't involved in this part. He's filming. He's filming, the producer of the NFL films and the director. I saw such negativity that I literally stopped when they were filming, I said, stop, stop, stop. You're bringing up old news. You're making this negative. It's not a positive story. My husband did not agree to go onto a show to have negativity. When I met him 20 years ago, he told me, I'm going to keep a low profile. I'm tired of all the negative stuff. I want to keep a low profile for 15 years. And you know what? We love the Lord. He's changed his life. He's just a regular guy. So why is it after all these years, he's going to go on a show that shows him in a negative light? It affects us. They have him hitting the table. I'm not in the Hall of Fame. Marty Lyons, he's always been nice and respectful. And he's on that show saying nasty things about my husband. Like, I don't know where they decided to go off on this show. And they did it for publicity. They did it for ratings. And that Brett Favre video went viral. They're making money and they're hurting a family at their expense. Shame on them.
Okay, listen, we're going to continue. Hang on, we're going to continue. We're going to continue. We got another segment here coming up.
Okay.
So we'll continue that. We'll talk about the book as well. We'll talk about what's next. Go ahead,
Can I
Mark.
say one thing? All right.
30 seconds.
Dan, last night, we went and we had to go out to the island all the way out. How long was it? 5 hours. 5 hours one way, 5 hours another way to get something that we normally would have gotten a lot more. We didn't get anything comparable to what we would have gotten.
Let me. Okay, I got to hold you here. We got to hold you over. We got another segment coming up. Okay, right. And so we'll continue this conversation here because, again, you're right. I mean, Joanne, I thought that was an absolute hit piece, that 30 for 30 New York Stock Exchange on Mark Gastineau. I really did. Mm-hmm. We'll continue more of our conversation here with the Gastineaus. We'll do that next. And keep it right here, folks, on SportsGrid.
Dan the man.
You wouldn't have your ex officiate your wedding.
Do you, Jake? Liar? Cheater? Gaslighter?
So why have anyone but America's largest injury law firm handle your injury case? With over $30 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Gaslighter, coitus crier, he's got more red flags than a bullfighter's attire.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
our compelling conversation here with legendary Jet Mark Gastineau and Joanne Gastineau here about 30 for 30. We got a book we're going to talk about here in a second. Mark, you wanted to make a comment about something. Please go ahead, man.
Yes, I did, Dan. That went viral, and everybody I knew, Dan.
30 for 30.
That 30 for 30. 30 for 30, nerdy for nerdy. I mean, it was horrible, man. And they would say, hey, I watched that. I watched that. Dan. And they played it over and over and over. And I wanted to know, and I want to ask you, and I want to ask all the people out there, Dan will probably know, how much do they make over and over and over and over? How much money do they make off a hit piece like that?
That was one of the most watched 30 for 30s in the entire catalog that they have, and they have put out there. So I would assume millions and millions of dollars that they have made. And Joanne, I'll ask you this: do you think ESPN has defamed Mark Gastineau's name with that 30 for 30 New York Stock Exchange story?
Absolutely. It's that why we have no reason to file a lawsuit. I'm not one to file a lawsuit.
We never filed anything.
A couple days before the show aired, and that video came out with Brett Favre, literally there was one night where I was on the phone with my sister-in-law, Mark's sister Kelly. We were crying at like 1 in the morning because she just kept showing me all this negative. Oh, Mark Gastineau, look at who would let him do a video. He's got this. Pitiful. I was crying, and I actually contacted the producer at midnight, and they responded. When a producer responds back at midnight and is trying to say this is not what we've done, this is not what we wanted to do, they know they did wrong. They ruined.
How about this, Mark? Mark, what's your relationship right now with Brett Favre?
My relationship with Brett Favre, I promise you, would probably go on your show. Okay, I don't know if you have him on.
I do know.
Okay. So have him on and say, what does he think about what they did to me?
Brett Favre.
I promise you.
I would say quickly, and you can look it all up. Put it on Twitter X, and wrote positive things about my husband and said he feels this is a setup, and he was taken back by it too, and he believes he was set up. You can look it up, you can call him, you will find out, because he will absolutely agree.
Okay, so let me ask you a relationship with the rest of the New York Stock Exchange. Abdul Salam no longer, unfortunately, is with us. It's Joe Klecko and it's Marty Lyons. Mark, your relationship with the remaining Stock Exchange members.
You know what? I want to talk about Abdul, my best friend. He was my best friend. Now I'm going to cry. And I was his pallbearer. Debbie is his wife. She, and my wife are close friends. And so we talk all the time. We write, letters. We write, birthday cards and stuff like that to her. And she still cries. She still cries. But he told me what everybody, was going to do in the locker room. And he told me exactly how they liked me. He told me how they didn't like me. And he told me what was going to happen to me. He told me everything in that locker room that was about the team. And some was good, some was bad. I'm not going to say, And right now, with Joe and Marty, we don't even, I talked to Joe. Joe and I get along. Marty has not contacted me. I haven't contacted Marty. Ever since she can tell it better than me, but ever since she took the picture, ever since my wife took a picture of Marty. Now, Marty was like really angry, at the 30 for 30. And then when he said, what did he do? When he said something about Brett, we said, I can't believe that he did that to Brett Favre. Now, wait a minute. Hold up. Dan, he can't believe I did that to Brett Favre. This is the only thing I'm going to say in a negative kind of light. He can't believe I did that to Brett Favre. Brett Favre was on another team. He's a quarterback. You're supposed to kill him. Why not?
No. Hey, listen. All right. What's your relationship with the Jets?
Okay, the Jets. Oh, man. My wife. The Jets are so dark. They're dark, and it's just gone. They're gone south. They've gone south. It's hard
with you,
to tell. Huh?
With
no.
Okay.
No. With the team, with
okay,
everything that's happened to them, they've just.
So you think the Jets are in a bad place right now?
Oh no, they're winning. They're great. Dan, come on. You know that. Dan, what do you think? You think they're in a good place?
No, I do not. Real quick here, Mark. Let's do this.
Okay.
Talk about your book
sorry,
here. Leaving. No, I love it. Leaving the 99 for the 1. Mark Gastineau story. What would you want people to know about the book that you just put out here? What would you want folks? Real quick, 20 seconds here. What would you want people to know?
Number 1, okay, in the Bible it says he left the flock to go for the one, the one sheep. Because you know what? The Lord did not want,
Mark, I gotta roll, man. I love you, folks. Do me a favor. Get the book. This is my friend. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Final thoughts next on SportsGrid. All right, I felt like I was being rude there because Mark was talking here and I cut him off just so I could have a stupid take here. So let me finish up the show here with these two, Joanne Gastineau and Mark Gastineau. Mark, again, do me a favor. Finish up with the book here and what you want the book and what you want people to know about the book. Again, leaving the 99 for the one, the Mark Gastineau story. Tell what you want people to know about the Mark Gastineau story.
Okay, that was the most important part. And Dan, I'm sorry. But anyway, my wife is going to, leaving the 99. He left 99 sheep to go for the one. Go ahead.
Well, he just said it. When we came up with the title, Leaving the 99 for the One, in the Bible, it says that Jesus would leave the 99 to get the one loss. We're all lost, but his number is also number 99. The book took us over 4 to 5 years, and it's all from his heart. This is a man that speaks about mistakes in his life, and he admits to them, and it's written. This is not like a book about a tell-all. It's about a man, what he's gone through. He speaks about his daughter. He speaks about Marcus, his son, and it's from his heart. And anybody that has read it just cannot believe that he would just reach down into his heart and tell a story like this.
Okay, Joanne, I'm going to ask you an important question.
Sure.
Before you met Mark, did you know about that Mark Gastineau? And what, again, have you seen the growth from that Mark Gastineau where the nation knows that Mark Gastineau on maybe what they don't know about this Mark Gastineau and this version of Mark Gastineau? Mm-hmm. What's the difference?
First of all, I did not know who Mark Gastineau was.
You didn't know my name.
Everybody was like, Mark Gastineau, you don't know who he is. I met him at New Jersey Beach. So I didn't know who he was, and we were speaking. I'm not going to get into the whole long story, but what I was more intrigued is he was a professional athlete. Not that he was on a Jets, but to be a professional athlete, you have to have a gift from God. So now we meet, we get married. But in reference to what you're saying is, Mark would tell me about Times Square Church in Manhattan. It's non-denominational. Everybody's invited. And he kept telling me about this church. So we started going to the church. Now, no one would believe that Mark's the one that brought me to church. I went as a little girl and I believed in God, but all I heard about was Times Square Church. I walked in, the choir was phenomenal, and it was just simple. It was so simple. The pastors would take something out of the Bible. They would explain it. It was simple. I loved it, and I got saved from that.
And then what happened?
As time went on, they were doing a men's Christmas. Now, we're talking about Times Square Church in New York City. Mark Gastineau coming home from church one night. They were talking about a men's
don't fall off your chair.
This is good. A men's Christmas choir. Doesn't matter if you could sing. It's just the pastor had this vision. As we're driving home, Mark says, I'm joining the choir for Christmas. And you know what? I know. He did. He joins the choir. Months later, him and I joined. Now, it's not like we have singing voices. They interview you and see what your heart is for the Lord. That's because they can get beautiful, God-gifted singing voices anywhere.
Yeah, they're right on Broadway.
So we were in the choir, okay? You tell me that, and who would notice about Mark Gastineau? We were in the choir together for 9 years. There are fans out there that we would meet later on, and one of them said, I was ready.
Jason Serrano.
Wait, hold on. I was ready to commit suicide. And we didn't know this. And he walked into the church. He was a big fan of Mark and the Jets. He saw Mark in the choir, and he said, if Mark's there, there's got to be something to this. Didn't take his life. Another fan, and we find out these stories later, and this isn't us. This is the Lord's doing. Another fan, his wife now, but it was his girlfriend and fiance. Got to go to church. He's a big Mark Gastineau fan. When he was a child, his nickname was 99. So he goes to church, not that he really wanted to, and he sees Mark Gastineau in the choir. And you know what? It changed his life. So this is the Lord's doing.
Wait a minute. He is the largest he's the largest hedge funder in New York.
Now, since I didn't follow like my husband's career or know about football, when I see pictures of this man that sometimes look angry playing, that's not the Mark that I know. That's not the Mark that I see. He's a different person.
All right, guys. I appreciate you doing this, and I've had a lot of fun here knowing where you guys are. And I do think the ESPN piece was a hit piece on you. God bless both of you. I'll be in touch with both of you in a little bit. Thank you so much. We got to roll. Thank you, guys. And we shall see you Sunday. We'll see you on the flip side.
I love you, Dan. Tell your wife I said hi.